Alright. Where's the stream at? If I could find Twitch, that'd be grand. Brain fuck, couldn't find where Twitch was. There it is. Race Spec, there's stream. Audio. Yep, audio is working as it should. Streams up, chats up, we're all good to go. Well, we're not set for much, folks. I think we're only set to have about 14 or 13 max for this race. It's a bit of a shame, but everyone wanted to watch the NRL Grand Final, so here we are with only 13. But it's enough. It's enough. Captain Liddell has just given the ready up signal, so we shouldn't be too far away from the start of qualifying. Just waiting for enough people to ready up. Come on, lads, he just gave up the ready up signal. Come on. There we go. Timer hit 0, start up the intro as per normal. Hello everyone and welcome to round 7 of the Elite Series here on Race Spec Esports. I'm Everingham, your lead commentator for this event, and tonight we'll be competing at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve for the Canadian Grand Prix. Located on the St. Lawrence River in Montreal, the circuit was created in 1978. In the real world of Formula 1, it's become a seasoned classic racetrack with some of the best races in the history of Formula 1 being hosted here. In the virtual world, the circuit can be, at times, pretty awesome when it comes to the side-by-side racing. However, it's far more well known for creating drama and chaos, with race-changing time penalties and safety cars being a common sight to see here. The circuit measures up at 4.36 kilometers and consists of 14 corners and 3 DRS zones that lead into the prime overtaking spots of Turn 1, Turn 8, and into the infamous final chicane known as the Wall of Champions. There's one final overtaking spot, major overtaking spot, at the right-handed hairpin at Turn 10. Don't be at all surprised if we see a few big dive bombs here, particularly on the very first lap of the race. Being a relatively short circuit, qualifying should be once again extremely competitive. But before we focus on qualifying, there is a bit of news to go through first from the previous race in Japan. There were no incident reports submitted by the drivers last week, so the final finishing positions from that race remain completely unchanged. In the Drivers' Championship, it's Jack Humphreys leading the way on 140 points, followed by CZK on 113. Ryan Bell and Potsy are next, both of them on 102 points. Big Al rounds out the top 5 on 75 points. In the Teams' Championship, it is Mercedes-AMG leading the way on 155. Behind them is McLaren on 147, then Alfa Romeo on 133. Williams just 2 points behind on 131, and rounding out the top 5 is Alpine on 113. As I alluded to earlier, the reason why we have a reduced field size for this event is because of the NRL Grand Final. Everyone wants to watch the clash between Penrith and the Broncos, so we only have 13 for tonight. What's really good to see, though, we're back to the official cars. We're not using the multiplayer cars anymore because Codemasters fixed the problem they created. So we've got equal performance again. It shouldn't be unequal between anybody during this event, so that's really good to see. Alongside me for tonight once again is KD1997. Cave to D, you've done your fair share of races around this little racetrack. What are your general thoughts about Circuit Gilles Villeneuve?
Well, Canada is not really the track I do enjoy in terms of the track itself. It's just I find it to be annoying because, like you've said before, the track limits around here are definitely so strict around here, which obviously means you can get a penalty here and there as well if you're not careful. But not only that, with these cars, it's a bit tricky in some of the curves that you go over, like for example turns 8 to 9. I find with these cars it's really easy to lose the back end if you use too much of the inside curve at turn 8, and then of course the final chicane is another one. I think that's the most out of any part of the track that gets the most annoying, because you cut too much, you get your lap invalidated or warning of course, or you can go to the World Championship, which will meet you on the right hand side.
Yep. But speaking of that, final chicane, it's slightly remodeled in F123.
Yeah, it has been a little bit remodeled. The curves, I think they've made the curves a bit taller, if I'm not mistaken.
Comes at you a bit sooner as well, from just the way it feels like when you're entering the final chicane. It feels like in older games that used to arrive a bit later after the straightaway. It comes at you a bit sooner now, but it's still a very nasty little chicane. It's very, very easy to get it wrong through there. Mr. Stevenson will be the first driver to set a benchmark time of 1:10.376 on the soft compound tyre. I thought they patched this out, but apparently not. You're still capable of using intermediate tyres during qualifying. I thought I saw a patch note that said you couldn't do this anymore, but guess not. Never mind. Must have misread it. Or Codemasters didn't properly implement it. Either or.
But yeah, that probably makes a little bit of sense, I guess. Oh, hello, that's a McLaren that spun.
Yes. Oh, and that's an Alpine.
At turn 2, that is.
Right on board here with Matt Plevy as he makes his way round. Oh, he's gone into the outside wall. Interesting. I thought he might have looped it and hit the right-hand side of the track. No, he's put it straight into the left-hand side wall. So that's a bit different. I don't often see that. I've seen drivers, and I've been one myself, who've outbraked themselves coming out of the pits and put themselves in the left-hand side wall. Or doing a Sonoda, so to speak. But yeah, that's a fair chunk after the exit of the corner. So that's a shame for Apollo. A decent chance he'll start from the very back with a 15.8. Not at all competitive compared to the 10s that the drivers are already setting.
Yeah. Well, at least you get a better chance, I guess, to make your way up if you can. It's only 13 cars you have to deal with.
Oh, yeah, you get a whole range of tyres you get to use in the race as well. And even with 13 cars, there's still a decent chance of a safety car. So we'll wait and see how that all pans out as Matt Plevy jumps to the top with a 1:09.8, the first car in the 9s. A couple tenths quicker than his teammate iContrast. T-Mac will complete a lap as well on the intermediate tyre to just give himself a bit of a benchmark. Set a 16.9. Just cuts underneath that 17 marker. Yeah, I could have swore there was a patch note that said they'd prevented drivers from doing this during qualifying, but yeah, no, guess not. It's a bit nicer for us as well that the multiplayer cars are now gone. We've now got the official cars back. It was a bit of a headache, wasn't it, KD? Just watching a bunch of black dots running around the racetrack trying to pick them out from the rest of the field.
Yeah, I was driving one of those black dots as well, a Monza Alfa Romeo. But yeah, no, it's good to have that back, the original cars, that is. Yeah, I'll be happy to be back in the Ferrari on Tuesday. That'll be great, for sure.
Still be sporting the Carlos Sainz helmet, I'm guessing?
Oh yeah, that's the only Ferrari helmet I've got. I didn't get the Leclerc one because I didn't do the Monza Pro Challenge or whatever it's called.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Jim Bin begins the flying lap. We're going to ride on board, give you a tour of this racetrack through turn 1 and into the right of turn 2, short shifting up to third gear. And we'll make our way up towards the chicane of turns 3 and 4. Cuts 3 Gets through 4 quite well, around the right hand of turn 5, and up towards the first sector split. Into the chicane of 6 and 7. You have to be careful of this right hand. It's very tricky to get right, very easy to lose the back end and potentially put it into the right hand side wall. Now into the turn 8-9 chicane, down to 5th gear, down to 4th as a matter of fact, up to 5th, slow car ahead, it's an Aston, getting out of the way. Into the hairpin at turn 10. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a few overtakes into this hairpin. Jimbin really had to pull it up there to make sure it got around the corner. Around turn 11 and up towards the little kink of turn 12 as we head down the Casino Straight and up towards the final chicane. He's braking at the 100-meter board. Down to 4. He braked a little bit too late and he's put himself in the wall. Remy. Thankfully, he's still in qualifying, KD.
Yeah, came a bit too hot. I did say earlier that the curbs that the final chicane were actually taller. No, they're kind of flatter, actually, to correct myself on that bit. Which is nicer, but yeah.
Yes. Still quite a hazardous spot to go through, as Jinbin kind of demonstrated. If you're too ambitious into the chicane, don't pull the car up accordingly. Yeah, there's a decent chance you'll end up in the outside wall. And he was lucky enough that the car remained relatively intact. He only broke his front wing. So, a bit lucky, but needs to make good on that luck. Try and set a competitive time towards the end of the session. His teammate CZK is going to cross the line to set a 1 minute 9.814. Goes slightly quicker than Matt Plevy and takes provisional pole position. Bags Liddell out on track, making his way towards turns 1 and 2. Aston Martin leaving the pit lane. I'm guessing that's Matt. Getting ready for another run. Gets well out of the way. As we head through turns 3 and 4, this famous chicane where Vettel and Hamilton had their little skirmish back in 2019. Very controversial little incident, particularly if you're a Sebastian Vettel fan. I know there is a fair few of them out there in the world still. But, yeah, no. This track, KD, almost every single corner has the potential to just create drama. It's quite a chaotic little racetrack.
In a sense, yes. Considering that it's a small track, and it can create drama just because like people are eager to overtake and try to get past. But then you also got to remember you're going through a bunch of chicanes around this place as well. That's another thing.
So Liddell will complete a flying lap here. We'll set a 1 minute 10.8. Goes 6 quickest with that lap time, about half a second off Stevenson in P5. Got Ryan Bell now occupying P2 with a 1 minute 9.8. So the top 3 are separated by 65 thousandths of a second. It's not a lot of time separating those guys, and I reckon this man, Jack Humphreys, he's going to start dicing it up with the top 3. I'm not sure how much faster he can go out there. It's been a while since I've done a run here at Montreal. Man, you can cut a lot at turn 8. He damn near invented a new corner. He cut that much, and it's legal.
Apparently. If I would have done that, the back end would have stepped out. If it was me. That's incredible how he just absorbed the curve.
Yeah. And somehow not copped a track limits warning for that.
Yeah. See how he does in the final chicane. Cuts quite a lot, but he got through that fine. Fair enough. Hope his DRS will cross the line to set on 9.4. Yeah, pretty quick lap time, yeah. That's
pretty fast. Around a racetrack just under 4.5 kilometers long, to have 3.5 tenths to the next car, it's a pretty good effort, that is. Again, I'm fascinated to see what some of the other drivers can do. At the moment, Plev's looking pretty competitive here, KD. His qualifying performances as of late have not been overly spectacular, but he's towards the front. He's dicing it up with CZK and Ryan Bell.
Yeah, it's a bit interesting to see how Plevy is up towards the front in this sort of occasion. But yeah, no, like you said, I have watched his races at both, obviously in this and Pacific 2-1. Yeah, normally he hasn't been the greatest qualifier, but showing a great effort. But still got plenty of time. Maybe he can find some more time. 6 minutes left on the clock, so that first 2 turns, I don't think that was the best, if I'm totally honest. Oh, that certainly was not fair. He hit the grass there before entry. Or was that lag spike?
I think
it was lag spike.
That's a... Oh, gee whiz.
Oh, I thought he hit the grass. That's what it looked like on my screen.
Yeah, I got it as well. But yeah, that was a humongous lag spike right there. He's still running, and he's slightly up, actually, in the first sector by... I think it was about 15 thousandths. As he heads up towards the middle sector split, he's up by a tenth. So he's finding time. But yeah, that was a bit of a heart-and-mouth moment right there at turn 3. Thought he might have threw away a lap. I thought he might have thrown it into the wall. But no, it's just lag, thank goodness. That's all that was. 2 corners left. They're nasty corners too. Oh, is he still jumping around? Camera's gone all wonky. Where is he? Crosses the line. Somewhere. And he does 1 minute 9.868, so he improves by 100. Yeah, that's not a good sight to see, Cody.
No. You better hope you're not lagging out of the session later on. But yeah, I hate that kind of stuff too. It's just like you're trying to figure out where is he, but yeah, he's just like jumping around like a kangaroo, just jumping around in the outback.
Yeah, and it's almost impossible to pass as well if you're stuck behind, because you just don't know where the car is. So you're constantly left guessing, where is he? You draw alongside and then he suddenly lags into you and punches you into Narnia. Or in this case, the St. Lawrence River itself. So it's just not fun in general.
Oh, no, not at all. If you get punted to the St. Lawrence River, you could probably be picked up by Mark Bergerman somewhere.
Well, you could see the foundation of the island, as I only learnt today. The island on which this racetrack is situated on is completely man-made. It's not a natural island.
Yeah.
I had no idea about that.
Yeah, no, that is true. I found out about that actually not too long ago as well. Just trying to pick up any more details, commentary-wise, from another league. But yeah, fascinating.
I had no idea about that. It was made for some kind of expo back in the 60s, and yeah. The things people did back in the day. Oh, let's just make an island in the middle of the river because screw it. We said so, we can do it.
Believe it or not, that same expo is still around today. You may have seen it as well in the introduction to the F1 career mode and whatever, when Crofty's doing a little rambling.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's that circular building that looks like a glacier or something like that.
Yeah, you'll be able to see it down the Casino Straight, big old building sitting in the middle of the island. But yeah, no, it's some interesting little facts about this circuit I didn't really pick up on for a long time. It makes sense in many ways that this island is not natural. Like, if you look down on it from a bird's eye view, it's just like, yes, okay. That makes a lot of sense, because the shape of it, it doesn't look particularly natural, but there you go. It's a man-made island. Now, Bags Liddell was on a flying lap. He's now thrown it away, or at least he's no longer committed to it. He's backed off and driving round, and it seems that Ryan Bell is doing the same. Okay, I'm trying to find some action here, lads, and you're just backing off. Let's see. CZK crossing the line and beginning a flying lap down towards turn 1. You better not back off. He heads through 1, round 2, second gear, back on the power. Up to 3rd, 4th gear, up to 5th, then 6th. You'll bring it down to 5th gear through turn 3, 5th gear through turn 4. Very tight through that chicane. So it's up towards the first sector split. That's a decent improvement, a tenth and a half already And only 5 corners. Needs to find a couple more tenths though. Ew, hello Alfa Romeo teammate. We're going to have some teamwork, just a little bit there, just a little slipstream down the back straightaway. So we head up towards the hairpin at turn 10. Clock says to the middle sector, CZK, he's found 3 tenths. Needs to find another half a tenth to try and challenge Humphreys. Meanwhile, the Mercedes driver up in the first sector. Oh, but he's thrown it away.
Anymore. I don't think so, yeah. Lost the back end.
Up towards the final chicane then for CZK. Get on the brakes hard. Down to 4th gear. Chucks it through. He was really committed through the wall of champions. Up towards the line. Too committed it seems. He lost time in the final sector. He's P2. Bell heading up towards the first sector split. What does the clock say? He's up by 0.08 of a second. What about Big Al? He's making his way out of turn 9. Up towards the middle sector split. Clock says for the McLaren driver he's up by almost 3.5 tenths. With that kind of improvement, might be able to jump up to the top 3. Needs to find more time. Meanwhile, Potsy has jumped up to P2. He's got a new name, F1 TikTok creator. That's, yeah. Don't know why he's gone with that, but it's Potsy. Trying to understand why it's just completely unnecessary, as Al's broken his front wing, I think, or he ran over debris. That must have been debris. As Al improves to a P2 finish at the end of qualifying with the 4.0.
Bell's done.
I think he might have done that deliberately. Might have screwed up the chicane and threw it into the wall. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, unfortunate there.
No, I thought I saw an end plate fly up out of that chicane. It's not Al's because he's still got both of his. So that must have been someone else going through that chicane and broke their wing. So across the line goes Jinbin. He goes P7. Roscoe Arm, his session is done as well. There we are. So it's Jack Humphreys who will start from pole position for this Canadian Grand Prix, and he's done it by 0.04 of a second to Big Al and P2. Al put together a pretty solid lap right at the end, only just missing out. Humphreys didn't do himself any favours though, making a mistake on his final flying lap attempt. Made him vulnerable, but he held on quite well. Outside of our top 2 places, we have Potsy in P3, followed by CZK. Ryan Bell rounds out the top 5. Matt Plevy P6, I think that's his best qualifying of the season so far. Followed by Jinbin, Contrast, T-Mac. Stevenson rounds out the top 10. Then we have Liddell, Roscoe Arm, and Apollo Pepsi. After his incident earlier in qualifying, he'll start from the back in 13th position. But to answer that question, someone put in the chat, the NRL Grand Final is on tonight, and everybody, well, a majority of the drivers in here wanted to watch that, so they're off watching it. So we only have 13 drivers competing in this. So it's just circumstances. Big sporting event on, everybody wants to watch it. Nobody really wanted to do this race, so just sort of how it worked out.
Oh, well, it happens, I suppose.
Just to privy your attention to this, KD, you can see that Ferrari pit box there.
Yes.
Those arrows are pointing in the wrong direction.
Oh, they are. Have they screwed this up now?
How on earth have they pulled that off? You don't come in from that side that we're seeing. We're coming in from the side that you can't see. Why are the arrows backwards?
Oh.
Is it to tell the Ferrari mechanics that's where the car is? So they know,
Probably.
oh yes, this car. We changed the car, we changed the tyres on this car.
Yeah, it's the same story in the Mercedes garage too, I can see that. Nice.
Drivers are lined up, ready to run. We've got 5 red lights. We're underway here in Montreal. It's a nice start from Humphreys. He should have the inside line down towards turn 1. Potsy right behind, but can't find a way through. Al goes right round the outside at 1, down the inside at turn 2 on those soft compound tyres. He takes the lead from Humphreys. Humphreys won't be able to fight back around the outside. No way, no how at turn 3. So he slots into P2. Behind him is Potsy, also on the soft compound tyre, looking to be aggressive, but can't find a way by the Mercedes AMG. Not yet, anyway. Bit of shuffling further back. Big old wiggle there from Potsy as he applies the power, heading down the back straightaway towards the turn 8-9 chicane. Chucking it through. Keeping it within the wire lines. You don't want to get penalties too soon. But I do feel penalties are inevitable here at Montreal. Potsy still unable to find a way through. He's got pace on those soft tyres. He's just stuck for the moment. He's now drawing alongside. Damn near on the grass. They're rubbing as they head down the Casino Straight towards the Wall of Champions. Al doesn't know where to go. They're still rubbing.
Oh! Oh, and Jack goes off the track as well. Gets bumped by Potsy.
Oh, CZK damn near put into the wall there as Humphrey recovers. That was very, very close down the main straightaway. They were bumping and grinding the whole way down that straightaway. Humphreys and Potsy. And somehow it didn't end in catastrophe.
You would have thought it was... Oh, hello. Someone's done a Sebastian Vettel impression. That was Bell.
It was.
Yeah, cut. Yep. And he's got a 3-second penalty for quarter cutting. Not surprised, but yeah. Just watching the onboard of Potsy and Humphreys, it's just like, yeah, they were literally very, very close, like inches apart from each other.
I bet both of them were wishing they had bounciers on, ripped through the opponent's car. Take them out of the race. They were rubbing against each other that hard they wanted to take each other out.
Quite literally, yeah. It seemed like it. Yeah, they should have used the bounciers that Jeremy had in his police car.
Absolutely. Damn near would have done the job.
Yeah, definitely would have shred the side pod and floor a lot.
Now, sees it. Oh, those fellas, and even the guys in the background, they're all getting close to the Wall of Champions. Chucking it through the final chicane. Gotta be so careful, lads. I mean, it's lap 3 of 35. Come on. You've got an awfully long way to go. But an interesting mix-up of strategies, KD. We've got 2 drivers on the softs. They're leading. We've got 4 drivers on the mediums and everyone else on the hard compound tyre.
Yeah. And not only that, soft tyres not doing too bad for Big Al and Potsy, as we can see.
Yeah, they're making them work straight away, aren't they? With that margin in hand already. But, of course, the obvious question is how long will those tyres last over the span of 35 laps? I don't really know if they'd last particularly long, just based off what we already know of F123. Soft tyre tends to be pretty useless most of the time, but maybe here in Montreal it's a little bit different.
Okay, Jack Humphreys is saying, Doug, nothing you can do. There goes the Malaysian.
Oh, there was a bit of contact between T-Mac and Matt there. I saw that. As we have a change in the lead.
Potsy around the outside of Big Al at turn 1. Very nicely done.
Yeah, these two will probably go back and forth for a little bit. Try and pull away from these fellas behind. CZK now operating in 3rd place. 3 of these guys, we've got CZK, Humphreys and Bell. They're all on the hard compound tyre, so I don't know if they're going to battle incredibly hard for position at this point. I imagine CZK and Humphreys might go back and forth, a bit like Al and Potsy out in front. But, yeah, it's going to be an interesting little dynamic, keeping an eye on these strategies and how they pan out. I'm honestly not sure.
I think... Oh, Al's actually... Did he lift a bit there? He's lifting a little bit as I'm running on board. Yeah, he's doing what you're saying, like. Doesn't want to fight. What he doesn't want to do is that if you battle, of course. I'm sorry, I stand corrected. He goes to the lead. I was going to say that if he was going to do what he was doing, this does not drag CZK and Humphreys and all the other cars behind into the mix.
Yeah, I guess the reason why he was lifting off, he didn't want to try and fight into the Wall of Champions. I mean, going side by side through there, rarely ever works out, and I mean that in the complete sense of the word. Rarely. I don't think I've ever seen two guys go side by side and not fall off the racetrack or end up in a wall or somebody's heart's broken. You know, it usually ends in some kind of disaster. So yeah, these two are going to go back and forth for a bit, thanks to the sheer power of DRS. And again, he might, he'll go by. And one benefit of passing on this straightaway rather than doing it at turn 1, you get DRS again, and the guy behind you can't counterattack. He will have a slipstream, which is better than nothing. The DRS is usually just that little bit more powerful compared to a slipstream, so Al will hang on to the lead on lap 6 of 35. Yeah, we got a long way to go, folks. I gotta say, with this coverage so far that the game's given me, I'm getting a lot of aerial shots and I'm liking it.
Yeah, I've gotten a few as well. When I was looking at CZK, Humphreys and Bell, I was looking over at turns 8 to 9. Aerial shot looked really cool.
I'd much rather these aerial shots than the ground shots. Like, I can understand you don't want to overuse it so you don't lose how special these aerial shots are, but they give you so much more information compared to sort of the grounded shots. Even these slightly elevated ones here at the final corner, where I'm pretty certain the camera's on a crane of some sort looking down at the racetrack. You can see quite a lot going on as Potsy retakes the lead. But yeah, I always like those with extra elevation. Whereas these grounded ones, yeah, the cars behind are well out of focus, so it's very difficult to see what they're doing. And at the moment, they're scrapping. They're very tightly bunched together, and the leaders are trying to pull away.
Pretty much. But it hasn't really pulled away too much, apart from when we saw the first lap, a couple laps.
Yeah, I think that K just painted the outside wall at turn 4 red. Those wheel covers shouldn't be too red anymore. It should be fairly black with the exposed carbon fibre. Because, yeah, he gave that wall a proper kiss, proper smooch, so to speak.
I see.
Locking up the rears quite a lot into that hairpin, I must say. Got the bias pretty well towards the rear. Sort of acting like a wannabe handbrake. Getting the rears to lock and the back end to step out. Get that extra rotation.
Yeah, kind of like what we see from Bell numerous times, how he has a lot of rear locking.
Yes.
DZK, that's like, it's kind of the first time I've seen him do that, as Al takes back the lead. But yeah, I was always on the qualify as well, watching on board with him, how he just had a bit of moments of rear locking at turns 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 most of the time. But yeah, that's a bit of a moment there for Humphreys.
Wow.
That's turn 4.
Yeah. I think Bell as well. There might have been a bit of lag. It looked like Bell got awfully sideways too. Yeah, these guys aren't mucking around on these tyres. I mean, look at the gap. It is shrinking. 2.2 now between CZK and the top two.
Yeah. It's starting to shrink just a little bit more and more and more. Probably imagine that the soft runners will come in maybe the next couple of laps, I imagine. I think the tires they're using obviously is the fresh set that they didn't use in qualifying. So that probably explains a little bit more in terms of how they're going a little bit more than you expect. Spotsy retakes the lead. Humphreys overtakes CZK for third.
Man, the amount of speed he carried through that chicane. I wish I could go that quick through there. If I went that quick through there, I'd rename the Wall of Champions to the Wall of Stupid. Because I'd hit it that freaking hard.
Yeah, I probably would agree with you there. Oh my goodness. A little bit of a moment there. I guess you weren't on board, but yeah, Humphreys still had a moment there at turns 3 and 4 himself. I don't know how he didn't put it into the wall. The back end just like was tail happy at the end of the
Mercedes
corner.
is all loosey-goosey through turn 4. But at the moment, the looseness and the freshness of those hard tyres is benefiting him quite a lot. Gap's now down to 1.3. Those soft tyres, KD, have well and truly jumped off a cliff.
Yeah, they're in the face. Let's see when they come in, the soft runners. Like I said, I imagine they'll pen the next couple laps like I mentioned before. Al retakes the lead as he goes to pit lane. Oh! Yeah, okay, both of them go in.
Yep.
Right, okay, fair enough.
Not mucking around. As soon as the tyres dropped off, they're in. Medium tyres bolted on. Are they two-stopping?
That's been a while since I would have seen like a two-stop around this place.
Back in the oldie days.
Yeah.
F121 and before, but the two-stop was very, very variable around here at Montreal, because you essentially cut the Wall of Champion chicane, turn 1 and half of turn 2. And you're travelling through the pit lane at 60. Oh, yellow's out. Whoa! Right. Stevenson.
Wait. Yeah, he's at a moment or something.
Not sure what that was all about, but...
Oh, he does not look very good, that car.
No, it looks...
Also, Bags is far away down too, so he must have sustained some damage, I'm gonna guess, the last lap.
On the hard tyres now, he's just trying to survive out there.
I don't blame him, because yeah, this track is just kind of pretty much about survival. Pretty much.
Keep your nose clean and you tend to do well.
Exactly.
Whoa. This top 3 battle is going to get interesting as Bell's trying to find a way through on Humphries. Oh, and damn near wheel to wheel, but Humphries had better traction, better speed out of the corner. He's able to hang on to P2 for now. Bell right behind. Does have a penalty over his head, but that wasn't for warnings. That was a slam duck 3 second at turn 4. So he might be able to argue a removal for that, potentially. If he makes a convincing enough argument, that is.
Yeah. If he had to correct it or something, probably. Yeah, I noticed that too, a little bit of a moment there from the front. Paulo Pepsi, a 3 second time penalty. I could see, yeah, a lot of real locking from the top 3. Not just CZK, but a lot of the other cars. I mean, that's not a surprise either, too.
Yeah, Polo's doing it. Did he go far enough back? Nah, couldn't catch anyone. But yeah, Polo was doing it as well. I was going to mention this guy. He's kept his nose clean. He's up 6 positions from where he started. He had an incident in qualifying which resulted in him starting from the back. Currently done alright, occupying P7 at the moment. Right behind Potsy, trying to make his way through. Big Al doing the same. Gets by on eye contrast, moves into P10. Potsy round the outside of turn 2.
Oh, but he's boxed a little bit. Gets to Roscoe, and he'll get through the Alpine of Apollo Pepsi. The 2-for-1 special there.
Not bad. Not a bad effort at all from Potsy. Down the inside goes Big Al. He's not mucking around either. Oh! Roscoe off the track. Was there contact? I'm not sure. Here comes Big Al. As Apollo actually shut the DRS to just let him through. Doesn't want any bar of Big Al at the moment. Minding his own business as eye contrast has a little moment through turn 9.
Well, the good news is for Potsy and for Big Al is that they got a bit of more clear air. So now they can try to put the hammer down as best they can.
Yep. And once they clear Jimbin as well, there's a bit more clear air they can play with as Humphries is in. T-Mac has followed him. Right, mediums.
So they're going mediums as well.
Can only guess they're trying to two-stop.
It seems like a two-stop to me. Yeah.
What's that? 23 laps on the mediums. Is that doable?
Where would they go? Like hard, medium? Well, I guess hard, medium is something they would do. Or you could go hard, medium, soft if you want to like extend the mediums for quite some time. I don't know. I've done only one race around this track in this game, but that was an intermediate condition, so I can't really give you that much information.
Oh, I only touched this game while doing commentary. I don't even race on it anymore, so I've got no idea either. I really don't want to race on it. I don't find any enjoyment in it. The commentary side, though, as previous races have proven, has been quite exciting to watch these guys compete. So, I'm having a fun time.
Fair enough. Yeah, because of that little undercut as well, Humphreys is a bit further back from Apollo. Sorry, Big Al and Potsy is what I was referring to. And speaking of Potsy, switcheroo there on the Alfa Romeo Jinbin at turn 2. Nicely done. Al will follow suit. Yeah, Jinbin says, yeah, just go through.
Go. I don't want to deal with you. Go, disappear. Me happy here.
Yeah, I want nothing to do with this.
Fair enough, man.
Yeah.
When you got guys this quick, or on tyres this fresh, I mean, what are you going to do? Really?
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of defence are you going to put up? A hay bale in front of that? Yeah. Nah. You might as well. And yeah, lots and lots of rear locking. Let's see with the Polo. Yep, rear locking. Rear locking as well for the Merc of Humphreys.
Yeah.
They're all handbraking their way around the hairpin, KD. As Al takes the fourth, rather.
You almost going to say the lead.
I almost said third.
Oh, third. Well, I thought you were going to say the lead. Because that's something we kind of was saying for like the first few laps. But, no, fair enough. And I think that's a Paul that's gone into pit lane. Yeah, he has. But yeah, you might as well have a handbrake in this thing, I guess.
Get around that hairpin.
Yeah. Driving like a rally car or something like that, or a drift car.
That's it.
Around that little bend.
Well, those Alpines will be pretty well equipped when it comes to that kind of knowledge. Not sure about many other racing teams though. There's no Red Bulls here. Yeah. In terms of rallying prowess, it is really just Alpine. They have a bit of history. Of course, Ferrari made engines for Lancia, but that's as far as it stretched. Oh, I lied. That Ferrari did make a rally car kind of once upon a time, called the 308 GTB, as Potsy takes P4. Or competed in tarmac rallies primarily, as T-Mac gets by eye contrast. That is for P8. Very nice.
What year was that? That was back in the 70s, I'm assuming?
80s.
80s?
Yeah.
Oh. I honestly did not know that.
Yeah, with the 308 GTB.
There you go.
Essentially, imagine a Stratos, but it's a Ferrari.
Okay. So
mid-engine, rear-wheel drive, sort of arrow-like shape. Like, it's not quite as pronounced or astounding as the Stratos, but, you know, sort of like a dumbed-down version of a 288 GTO, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, competed in Group B, rallying for a little bit. As Potsy takes third, and Big Al might have a crack here. Will have a crack. Move through into fourth. But obviously Ferrari didn't delve hard into the rallying scene. They had Lancia to do that kind of stuff. So they just built engines for Lancias. Let them use that as Humphreys moves through into 6th place. Jimbin slots in behind. Through turns 1 and 2.
I think also that Group B, as far as I've been aware, that used to be more popular in Formula 1 back in the 80s and whatnot.
Certainly an incredibly radical time. It's probably as popular as rallying ever got, minus maybe the mid-90s and mid-2000s. Because yeah, the sheer speed of the cars, the complete emptiness of the regulations. It was basically whatever you could make, you could rally. It obviously drew in a lot of crowds, created a lot of attention, and ultimately it just proved to be a bit too much for the time period, and life was lost. So they pulled the pin on it. Now Plevy goes into pit lane. He'll be moving off those mediums, most likely onto a set of hards, and he'll go to the end of the race on those. These two have continued to go back and forth, pretty much through the entirety of this race. And I'm almost certain they've still got one more stop to make. I'll be curious to see, though. Will it be a set of softs or a set of mediums they'll put on for the final stint? I'd imagine a set of mediums.
Yeah.
I imagine.
Humphreys won't be too far away in terms of their window as well, because these, even though his tires are 3 laps younger, but they will still be quite somewhat there in terms of their overall age.
Yeah, well, we've noticed it in previous races where there can be a very slight age difference in terms of tires, and that slight age difference makes a huge difference when it comes to overall lap time as Potsy moves through into 3rd place. The only trouble is for Humphreys, he doesn't have DRS compared to these two are constantly going back and forth. And DRS is a very, very powerful tool. And a lot of this track is just straight, but a few chicanes here and there to try and negotiate. But for the most part, it's straight. So if you have slipstream and DRS, that's really going to help you.
Yeah, pretty much.
See, at the moment, it's 4.7, now 4.5. See, Humphreys really trying to push through the corners, trying to claw back that time. Keep an eye on the gap here. It's going to be 4.3 seconds, in and around that. How much will that increase down this straight? Yellow's out as Roscoe retires. Safety car is out.
Ooh, this plays into the hands of CZK and Ryan Bell, who have not stopped yet.
I think everyone has to pit.
Yeah, you have to at this point.
With the amount of laps remaining, I think you would have to pit. Top two definitely are. What about this two? They'd have to. CZK drive through, speeding under the safety car. That's probably the glitch. Where you enter pit lane and you get a drive through. I'm amazed that's not fucking fixed. Apologies for the swearing, but honestly, that should be fixed by now.
Oh yeah, there's so many others. Well, that's pretty much ruined his race then. But yeah, I have seen this before, and yeah, that's just shocking.
Honestly, Codemasters.
How's for Potsy and now?
Well, I guess then they feel they can't go to the end on mediums, I'd guess.
Or maybe... Or
they only have one set of mediums too. They could have only had one.
Yeah, they could have gone for the soft allocation.
Yeah.
I think. Because the soft allocation gives you 4 sets of softs, 1 set of medium, and 1 set of hards.
So they were basically forced a hand here. They had to pit onto hards. And they'll make it. They'll be in one piece right at the end of the race, but they're not going to have a huge amount of pace compared to the mediums straight off the bat. Basically, they have to try and hang in there for as long as they can on those hards. Try and stick with the leaders. Well, one of them's going to be taken out of the equation because this game's rubbish. CZK will have to pit to serve that drive-through penalty. I honestly can't believe that's still a thing. Where you could get it just by entering the damn pit lane.
Yep. Not surprised, actually, anymore.
No, it's just not. It's just not. As per usual, it's down to us, the users, to work around Codemasters' problems, so... I guess for CZK next time when he enters Canada's pit lane behind the safety car, crawl into it. You might as well. Don't drive into it normally like a normal person. You could crawl into it. Commando crawl into it. So that's just rubbish.
Yeah.
And he'll have to serve that. There's no choice in this. He'll have to serve that. So that gamble, staying out, waiting for the safety car to happen, it paid off. But the game decided to kick him in the balls, basically. So.
Yep. Unfortunately. Yeah, that's just terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Now, in terms of penalties, we see them here. 3 seconds for Bell, Apollo, and Stevenson, as well as Bags, Liddell. To be fair to these guys, they've kept it relatively penalty-free, even after 21 laps. They've done a pretty decent job just keeping the car within the white lines. The safety car is now in this lap. CZK's got the drive-through, which he will serve. I don't think he'll be able to serve it straight away either because he's the leader. I think he'll have to actually complete a lap before serving. I think. Well, I think he'd be better off trying to complete a lap anyway before serving. Otherwise, you might have just screwed yourself even harder. But, for CZK now, he'll need another safety car period to try and save this race. So, see how it all pans out. Bell getting ready for the restart. Through the chicane. Here we go. T-Mac a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings as we're now back on the green flag conditions. That was all. Some netcode there, some lagging.
Oh, yeah, Matt's ghosting on my screen.
Yep. Oh, bit of a wiggle there from T-Mac as well. He's on the soft compound tyre. Don't really think they can make the distance as Humphries gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. T-Mac Jim in side by side. Oh, looking around the outside of turn 7. Bit audacious. Looking around the outside here at turn 8. Gets in front and moves through. That's P7. And the McLaren driver. Nice move there on the soft tyre. Humphries having a look. Bombing it down the inside here at the hairpin. Oh, Potsy having to turn left there. Trying to bail out of the battle. Make sure he didn't end up in the wall. CZK, he's bound to pit in this lap. Making things a bit difficult there for Ryan Bell, having to work around that.
Yep. Goes in. Bell takes the lead and fastest lap of the race as well with a 1:11.7 to add to that.
I will admit though, KD, out of all the racetracks to get a drive-through penalty, this is probably the best one you could get it at.
Yeah, because the pit lane's not that long.
That's right. So he'll come out, what's that, about 5 seconds behind? 7.1 seconds behind Bags Liddell. So he's not completely out of reach. If he can string laps together and close that gap and keep it penalty free, then he'll gain positions. It's just that simple. Because 3 cars in front of him have time penalties. So, or T-Mac down the inside of Plevy. Gets it done. Moves through into P5. Plevy sits in the slipstream. Don't think he'll be able to counter-attack here. Should just stay behind in P6. Now, Big Al behind Potsy. These two still going at it. Bell and Humphries leading the way. They both have 3-second time penalties. DRS is now enabled. And the gap between Potsy and the top two, 1.9 seconds. It's almost the exact same compared to what we had at the beginning of the race.
Pretty much. Stevenson another penalty as well in the process. Potsy just needs to try to see if he can cling on to those 3 seconds if he can. Obviously to get the win, if he, like I said, if he can. But yeah, that's going to be a bit tough with the pace difference of those tires.
And with the extra longevity of the mediums compared to the longevity of the soft tire in the beginning of the stint, means those mediums are going to be pretty good for that little bit longer compared to the softs. So ultimately the hard runners are up against the wall, but if they just keep hanging in there, they'll give themselves a chance. And by the way, this isn't the first time Bell and Humphries have battled one another, so these two have come together on at least one occasion I can remember, so it'll be interesting to see how this battle pans out. And one coming together during a night in Bahrain. It didn't end well.
No, it did not.
And they'll be lucky to not repeat that, as Liddell gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. CZK back to within 5 seconds of Liddell, so he's putting the hammer down, trying to give it everything to catch up. He's still got a few more laps to try and catch up too. Up towards the hairpin here. Got Potsy still leading this group. Al P4, followed by T-Mac in 5th. On those soft compound tyres, they'll be good for a few more laps, but after a point, those tyres are going to fall off quite significantly. Imagine he'd probably tumble through the order somewhat, but he just needs to try and keep it together for now. Make good use of those soft compound tyres. Al trying all over the back of Potsy, but unable to find a way through at the moment, KD, and the gap's increasing between Potsy and Humphries.
Yep, that's also thanks to the little advantages that Humphries is using, of course, the DRS to try to, well, not only keep over Ryan Bell, but also, like we've been seeing, pull a bit of gap to Potsy. Yeah, I think these two are just best just to fight for the podium, really.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to drag that gap back. 3.5 seconds. Yes. It'll be interesting to see. And of course, we might have another safety car which will completely change the complexion of the race again. So, nowhere near done. Al moves through on Potsy, that's for P3. And move further back as well as Jinbin moves through into 6th as he completely cuts the chicane. Didn't get a time penalty for that. Might have got a warning though as Plevy tries to fight back down the inside of turn 1. Does get on through. Moves through back into P6. Potsy right behind Al. You're not making a move through this chicane.
Oh,
no. Ooh.
There's contact. Oh dear. Yeah, Jinbin just put Plebs into the wall at the chicane at 3 and 4.
That gets going again, but he's now down in P11. It was looking like a pretty decent race for the Aston Martin driver. He's gone upside down. He's fallen to within the clutches of CZK, who was charging his way towards this group. And he's still got a decent amount of battery as well, 89%. This is going to be very fun watching him climb his way through. First target, Matt Plevy. Car stricken from the contact earlier. Try and line up the Aston and the AlphaTauri for a move potentially here on the Casino Straight. Potsy moves through into 3rd. DRS open. Bags doesn't have a lot of straight line speed. CZK. Oh my word, that's a late move. Oh, contact again.
Got it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, no, that's late. He was drawing alongside. You can't just move over like that. Yeah. Somehow that didn't result in a massive accident.
Oh, that almost led to an accident. Had a bit of an oops at the exit of the turn. Dear me.
You can't just jank over when the car's that close and it's got momentum. No way. Somehow, some way, they kept it together.
Penalty for... Oh, that's going to hurt him quite a bit. Meanwhile, there goes CZK to go through. He's probably a bit frazzled about what happened between him and Jinbin, I think, at turn 3.
Ooh, Apollo, I think, gave Stevenson a little bit of a bump there at the hairpin. He broke awfully late, Apollo, and yeah, I think he just gave Stevenson a little bit of a tap. A little tap. Made him loose coming out of the hairpin, but they kept it together, just. Four cars flying through the World of Champions chicane, eating each other's dirty air in the process. But all of them getting through unscathed.
Yeah, at least no one's gone to the World Champions as yet. Fair credit.
Hope you haven't cursed it, KD.
I might have. Now that I said that.
You've still got 7 to go, so...
well, you're better at the commentator's curse than I would.
Oh, I'm seasoned enough to where I say stuff and it happens, so... I'm not going to say there's going to be an incident, but... I'm just saying there's 7 laps to go.
Even you've done some commentator's curse on me.
Yeah. Nah, not my fault.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Me and my dumb mouth.
Humphreys is really pushing while I'm watching his onboard, going through that final chicane. Can't get through to turn 1. Yeah, just watching how he goes through exits of some of the chicanes, the back end just, I know I sound like a broken record, but just how the car just gets way too tail happy. And speaking of that, I see the same thing with Ryan Bell, as he gets tail happy.
Yeah, top 2. They're really trying to give it some. Like, they've got margin in hand now that they should be okay from the likes of Potsy. So, and they both had 3 seconds worth of time penalties as well. So this is a very, very genuine battle for the race win. Of course, if another driver gets a time penalty, that will sort of crumble the integrity of the battle somewhat. Hopefully neither driver does that. So, yeah, Potsy really can't do much in this position. Best he can hope for is a safety car. A late race safety car. And that will really put him at the forefront. At the front of the field. I eventually got my words out. So 2.5 tenths. Again, Humphreys. Well, going for a move. Both drivers have a decent amount of battery. Oh, a bit of T-Mac. He's in. Yeah, those soft tyres couldn't make it.
Yep. He's on to a new set. That's fair enough. So I'll try to go fast lap. That's fair enough.
Roll the dice, prayed for a safety car. It hasn't come yet, so those tyres had to come off the McLaren at some point. Decided the time was now. Oh, contact between Stevenson and Jinbin there through turn 6. Seen a fair few drivers drumming up against one another tonight. Gee whiz. Battling each other properly hard here at Montreal. Said in the intro, you don't see a hell of a lot of side-by-side action. That's not usually the thing that really makes a good race here at Montreal. It tends to be drama more than anything else. But we're getting a lot of side-by-side ding-dong battles here. This Big Al moves through into 3rd.
And Paul gets by contrast.
Yep. Again, that time penalty is going to hurt him somewhat. Because he's got 2 cars behind that don't have penalties and 1 arriving on the scene. And that's CZK. He doesn't have any time penalties either, so... It's been a great recovery from the Malaysian. Back up into the top 10 after a drive-through. He's got decent battery life as well, so he'll have the opportunity to try and pick his way through. Just needs to try and execute it. Stevenson close, but it's not quite close enough to try and pass. Meanwhile, out in front, this is the developing story. Heading towards 3 laps to go. The gap between the top 2 sits at 0.4 of a second. Humphries with a decent amount of battery. Bell has a decent amount of battery. I imagine there has been a bit of gamesmanship going on between Bell and Humphries. Neither driver using a lot of battery, just using the natural pace of the car for a lot of this stint. Trying to save up for the final few laps, ready for a massive attack. 3 laps to go here in Montreal. Humphries has a look, but doesn't commit to the move. Potsy moves through into position 3. I think Al might have made a mistake. That gap was under 3 seconds between Al and Potsy. So did Al make an oopsie and let Potsy back on through?
He could have. He could have done something in the middle sector that might have screwed himself over.
And you see on the minimap as well, this sort of train of 5 cars making their way through the opening sector. So you got a few battles everywhere at the moment. We'll keep our eyes on the one at the front. When will Humphries deploy the battery? When will he switch on the overtake button? Because we're getting closer and closer to the checkered flag. Still has DRS, which is a huge factor in a battle like this. You want to use it wisely. Most importantly, you don't want to give it to your rival. Here we go, down the main straightaway. Up towards turn 1. Bell has to cover with 2 laps to go. Into the opening corner. Humphries round the outside, now down the inside. Bell, does he have enough traction to keep the battle alive? He's still side by side with the Mercedes drivers. We head towards turn 3. Humphrey sends it in. Takes the lead. Bell down to second. But it's definitely not over. Only 2.5 tenths separating these two as they go through turn 6 and then turn 7.
Bell. I wonder if Humphries might have... Sorry to interrupt you. I wonder if Humphries might have gone a bit too... Oh, he's wiggling a little bit as well. Probably not happy with him, I assume.
Don't know. But I think I'll agree with you, KD. He's jumped fairly early at this. Oh, that's tight. That's real tight. Will Bell take the lead back, or will he do it on the last lap? What does he do? He's not using battery. He'll take the lead now.
Well, with that little battle, that's also gave Potsy a bit of time to catch up. It's now 3.8 seconds.
DRS open on Bell's car. He'll lead into turn 1. Humphries can't find a way through as we head around turn 2. Up towards turns 3 and 4. Both drivers need to push hard, but they need to keep it within the white lines. They can't push too far. Contrast drops down the order. He's had an incident at turn 1. Through turn 6 for the final time. Then turn 7. Critical area of the racetrack. You need to be spot on through here so you can maximise the top speed. He's not using DRS, KD. He's not even going to bother.
No, he's just going to wait until the continuous straight and the main straight to do it.
Bell's saving up all that battery for one huge blast. I reckon he's going to try... Oh, hello, Humphries, down the inside. Bell, caught napping, perhaps? Or is it a tactical play to try and give himself some slipstream? He's not going for the slipstream. He's going for the straight line duel. Humphries versus Bell. 2 corners to go. Bell has to send it. He has to go for it. They both pull up. Humphries moves on through. Bell's been played. It's Humphries who wins the Canadian Grand Prix. Potsy home in P3, followed by Big Al. Apollo Pepsi crosses the line in 5th place. He will not stay there. The 2 Alfa Romeos of CZK and Jinbin will finish in 5th and 6th. Apollo 7 followed by I Contrast, T-Mac and Stevenson rounds out the top 10. Plebby P11, he'd be disappointed with that. Solid qualifying, solid race. It all came to an end at turn 3. Okay, so Dell will finish in 12th. There we are. Jack Humphries given driver of the day. as we move on to the podium celebrations. Here is your race winner, our championship leader. Put together a fantastic final lap which resulted in victory. A small margin between the top two, with Ryan Bell finishing in second, Potsy completing the podium places in third. The unofficial results of the Canadian Grand Prix. Humphries is your race winner with Bell home in second. Potsy completes the podium places in third. Big Al P4 followed by CZK in fifth. And we have Jinbin, Apollo Pepsi, I Contrast. T-Mac and Stevenson rounds out the top 10. Matt Plevy P11 followed by Bags Liddell in 12th with fastest lap as well, a 1 minute 11.017. Roscoe Arm was the only retirement of the race, crashing out at the exit of turn 4. A result from that was a safety car that came out that completely changed the complexion of the race. My KD, we only had 13 cars in this one and we still had an entertaining finish.
Yeah, some bits of bulbs here and there that actually were pretty good.
Absolutely.
So we had a 13 car field, but yeah. Probably gonna imagine there will be a couple of incident reports coming some people's way.
Wouldn't be surprised. There were a few dramatic moments, as I think a lot of people just kind of have to expect with Montreal. It's a very chaotic little racetrack where the margins are incredibly fine, and usually drama just sort of occurs. You kind of had to deal with it, but no, what a fantastic little race that was here at Montreal. Drama, chaos, and some fantastic side-by-side action. Oh, not bad at all.
No, not bad.
Final congratulations to our top three. Big congratulations to Mr. Humphries for winning here in Montreal. Big old send round the outside at the Wall of Champions. I really thought Bell was going to send it harder into that final chicane, but no, you properly sent it in. Of course, I'd probably hazard a guess that Bell might try and get that 3-second time penalty of his removed. Because if you remember, he didn't get it through warnings, he got it through a straight-up corner cut. So, if he puts together a strong enough argument, I reckon there's a chance he might be able to get it removed. But for now, it's Jack Humphries who is our race winner. But I think, folks, I'll wrap everything up. Thank you again, KD, being alongside me for this commentary stint. Attendance wasn't great, but the racing was pretty good here at Montreal.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad in some aspect, but yeah, anytime, of course. Enjoy being part of your company as well.
Alright, folks, it's time for us to end the stream. I've been Lane Everingham. My co-commentator, as always, is KD1997. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching, and we'll see you next week for round 8 of the championship, the second sprint round of the championship as well. And we're going to make history. It's the first ever race at Lusail International Circuit, the Qatar Grand Prix. It's going to be quite interesting to see how competitive that is during the Sunday and Tuesday tiers. But until then, it's goodbye.